There are significant differences in the ways most Black and white Americans view racism and the dialogue surrounding this topic. These conversations can be tough to have, but are important steps in addressing inequality and moving forward. Reporter Kent Lutzen has more on how our words alone can make an impact.
Amid our national movement surrounding racism and inequality, it's exposed a conversation years in the making.
I think in a way there's always been division in our country. Only now people are speaking out.
Mara Lee, an Omaha resident, is just one of many that are having tough talks about race following weeks of Black Lives Matter protests.
We let things slide in the past. I don't think we're going to let things slide anymore. I think we're going to stop and say, take a look around, be quiet, hear really what's going on around you.
And these moments of chaos or peace are often escalated or dissolved by our choice in words.
We all know that words can hurt us. I think this is a moment that highlights that tremendously.
Whitney Gent, an assistant professor of rhetoric and civic engagement at the University of Nebraska-Omaha, says a single word, although it has a dictionary definition, can take on a new meaning depending on the color of our skin.
A lot of people, white people in particular, are referring to looting as violence, for example. Largely the kind of violence that they're talking about is property damage kinds of violence. Whereas Black people who are talking about violence are talking about a systemic kind of violence, the violence of racism that they have borne over the centuries in the United States.
And it's not just the word violence.
Black Lives Matter protests, for example, if you think of it in a positive way, then you think of the word protest positively. But if you aren't for the Black Lives Matter protest, then you see it in a negative way.
Carly Headley, an Omaha high schooler, says that she has had to really break down words with her friends and family when trying to further advance discussions about race.
How can we use those words and still kind of mend the bridge, I guess?
I think for me, what we need to do is pay attention to anytime a different word raises our hackles. What makes us get offended? Or what makes us feel like we don't understand something? That's a moment in which we need to educate ourselves instead of staying in that offended place.
In Omaha, Kent Lutzen, 3 News Now.
And Gent says to not shy away from these tough conversations about race and to look at it as an opportunity to see something from a new perspective.